With us today, we have Neal Powless, or Howanajes. And how did you feel? I mean, that must have been pretty cool getting to coach in that first PBLA game there in Binghamton. Everybody I talked to said the crowd was really jazzed up and into it.
Yeah, it's 1,100 fans. They got a very exciting 15-14 game. It was the kind of game that the fans enjoy, but the coaches lose sleep over. But it's great to be 1-0 as a professional coach.
Yeah, that's got to be an awesome feeling. In the
Yeah.
new league, you didn't quite get to win the inaugural game for the league, but you did get to win the inaugural game for your team in front of your home fans. That's got to,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Both home teams won, so that's a good thing. It always bodes well for future fans coming in. And it was very entertaining. Uh, it was exciting lacrosse. It's impressive when I check a Facebook and I see a long time lacrosse fan, an indigenous person, say that's one of the best games I've seen in a long time. That's pretty cool.
yeah, that's got to mean a lot
Yeah,
to hear,
yeah,
because
it does.
and like everybody I talked to said the crowd seemed closer to 1,500 is when they were guessing because they said the people in Binghamton were stoked for it, and yeah, I don't think there's any way there's going to be once word of mouth starts traveling, you get the people that were in town that. Yeah, I think the sky's the limit with this league. I think spreading box lacrosse, you know what it's like. It grabs a hold of you and it's like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, and it was, and there wasn't even any fights. I mean, I think that's part of what was impressive is that the guys went out, they played hard. Played hard, played tough. That was a lot of good hits. That was a lot of bodies flying around. I think, you know, 3 or 4 times I heard them calling for the trainer, and probably just as many times where one of our guys jumped out of the way and two of their guys ran into each other. So it was an exciting game. Like I said, bodies on the floor and goals in the ball in the net and saves and all kinds of cool stuff. Jake Lazor played fantastic in goal, and Casey Dowd got a lot of face-offs for us and gave us an opportunity to control the ball and control the tempo. And anytime you can put the ball in the sticks of people like Ty Thompson and Matthew Bennett and Cam Simpson and Ty Hill and everybody else, right? Um, it's going to create problems for anybody.
Yeah, I actually did Cody Kilcoyne score the game-winning goal. I heard.
Cody did score the game-winning goal. Yeah,
I got to call and congratulate him. I somebody said it last night, but I wasn't sure if that actually. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it because he's one of those guys I filmed with Collar City, and now to know like he scored the game-winning goal. Because I told everybody when I watched him, I told my wife, I said he is one of those lacrosse players. Like he's just a hard-nosed two-way player, but he has the offensive like skills and the acumen, but he can play defense, and he's just such a physical, like emotional player that people love to watch.
yeah, yeah. We have practice again this weekend in Utica, and there's obviously always ways to get better and looking at tape and players and all kinds of different things. How can the team evolve and get better? And we had one player who I expected to play every game this year, but he was home on vacation with his family, so he wasn't able to play the first game. But there's another name out there, another guy who I think is another guy that people will follow and like to watch. And then maybe there's a few others there that they'll find. It was good to see JJ Voigt get a goal.
He was another
And
one I said to Paul. I was like, he's watching him out there. It's just like, okay, he's one of those guys that gets it. Hard nosed player, phenomenal athlete. He is fast.
he's super fast. He's super fast. He's athletic. He has no idea. Well, I can't say no idea. He's learning the game still, right? Which is what's exciting and what this league is built for, right? It's guys like JJ Voigt who had never really played organized box lacrosse before, had played some club stuff here and there in men's leagues and things like that, but never got into the organized space. And just a great athlete, good stick, fast, strong, big. has the right mentality, enjoys the contact, right? Uh, and you throw that guy in with a little bit of game knowledge, and who knows what's going to happen, you know? He took a lot of razzing, though. That was one play where he had created a fast break or an odd man situation, and we had a guy coming off the bench, uh, an NLL star. Uh, and he looked him off and took the shot and missed the net, right? So not only did he get it from the team, but he said even my grandma was sending me messages, giving me a hard time about that play. He goes, "I'll never look you off again." I was like, "Well, you always got to look at the bench to see if someone's coming," because the guy came off the bench and was ahead of him, right? And he just didn't headman the ball. So those are those things, right? Where a young player or a rookie or a person who hasn't played a lot of box across doesn't realize the substitution box and how close to the goal it actually is. And when you see a guy coming out of that box, you know, give it to him, and he's going to do some cool stuff with it because he's fresh and he's looking for that ball and thinking about the eight fakes he's going to throw on the way to the cage. So yeah, it was really exciting. And then the rules themselves, right? With the shot, the penalty or um,
Yeah, the power
penalty
play or the
shot.
penalty. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it reared its head again, right? So the first game, the Syracuse and All Americans game, it played a part in Syracuse's comeback, and they obviously didn't come back to win, but they did make it competitive. But they were getting kind of blown out before that, and then they hit a couple of penalty shots, and that kind of pulled them back in. And same thing for us. It pulled us back into the lead or pulled us back into the game. But then we took two penalties, and Jake Lazor made two great saves. So he doesn't make those two saves. Those are goals. Could be a different game. Let's just be honest. And he makes those two saves, though, and we win by one. So there's so many plays when you have a one goal game, when you're on the winning side or the losing side, that you could think of that could be you could say, wow, that could have gone different. Uh, and this is just a tip of the iceberg of how many plays could have gone different that I'd like to limit. Right? Let's get some bigger. Let's get some more cushions on these games. Right?
Every game was that close though, with the exception of the one was there was a 6 goal difference with Hammerheads and Salem. But yeah,
Yeah.
the other games were all close, and I tell you, this league. I mean, you want to talk about parity, and I think one big advantage like the Jim Thorpe team has is a lot of those guys played together. But as I was talking to some of the other coaches throughout the league, it's not how you start the season; it's how you can finish it, and you guys are adjusting to those rules. What else besides the penalty shot did you find was like the most that affected the game the most? I guess.
The substitutions, guys coming off, and reminding them, if you're going to come, you got to come early and you got to come to that other door. Sometimes the guys are going to the wrong door and you're like, wrong door. So eventually they'll get used to it. And I think once everyone gets used to that, players and coaches, right, I think you'll see some more strategy come out in the second half of the year where different things will show up with different coaches on what they're doing and how they're taking advantage of the substitution or lack of substitution, right? So that's why we get paid, right? To come up with and dream of new ways to exploit the rules to get an advantage over another team. So yeah, we're not sleeping.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most exciting parts about this league, though, is because the coaching strategies with these new rules are going to be so different. Because, like, after you've had something established for a while, everybody kind of finds what works, and you only have like one or two different systems. Whereas
Yeah.
this, every team, every mentality is coming into it just like different. And with the exception of somebody told me that Randy Clarksler coached in the what was it, the CLAX, I think, and they
Mhm.
said that had a very similar rule set. So, but with the exception of him, nobody else has really coached in this different kind of rule set, and it's I think the most exciting part in watching, like you said, how penalty shots. That's something. If you were told at the beginning of the year you're going to have a 75% power play, you would be so excited, and that's how it played out so far.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you take a penalty, you get paid. You get penalized for it. Um, so it's really, for me and my team, we have the weekend. Well, we have no game this weekend. Doesn't mean we have the weekend off. So we're still practicing, but certainly we're going to go over some of those things. And penalties is a big thing, right? You limit the penalties, you limit those opportunities. You only give up 3 or 4 penalties a game, and that's four power. That's 4 penalty shots. You only giving up 4 penalties a game. That's 4 penalty shots. You never see the power play on the floor, right? Possibly, unless the coach decides strategy wise that they want to take the right. And so I had one where I did take the penalty, because we had another penalty and I wanted to wind down the clock on that other penalty. So I did, right? So we took the penalty, went 4-4 for a little while, and then I missed out on an opportunity on the on the shot, right? Because no more penalties in that half, no more chances to use the penalty shot. So I only used 3 out of the 4, and we won 15-14, right? So once again, is that strategy? It worked this time. We won. Who's to say next time it's going to work? It might not work the next time. It might blow up in my face the next time. You know, I had to trust my instincts on that and look at the clock and do really quick. And I turned to my coaches and I was like, dude, I just had to do some really quick math on that. That was kind of stressful. I hope this is the right choice. You
Yeah,
know, and it was
it's
really to kind of turn the game into the game and take advantage of, well, we got a guy in the box and I need an even opportunity to play the game more than I need the opportunity to get a quick goal, because he'd still be in the box for 4 minutes, right? And that's just hard, you know. That's tough. So yeah, so it gave me a chance to eat up some clock, and it worked out because they didn't score in that 4 minutes. So now he gets a penalty. They don't take a penalty shot, and we kill the penalty. So you know, there's strategy in every see, and that's what the fans don't realize yet, right? Even just that was strategy. And like I said, I was doing some quick math in my head trying to figure it out. And then not only just the substitutions and the penalty shot, but how do you substitute within those new rules? We tried a system in the first half, and we thought it was what we were observing in other groups, and it was one of the systems that I had already kind of thought of. I didn't like it. I didn't love it. I didn't love it, but I was willing to do it, and I tried it, and probably about 3/4 of the way through the first period, not only did the coaching staff realize that it was a fiasco, but the players were just frustrated. So I was like, okay, we got to change this around a little. So we went in on the second half, changed some things around, and I said, look, here's the deal. The what does not change, and I listed out the things that I needed to not change. And these are the things that do change, right? And we have to stay disciplined in these things, or this plan does not work. And at the end of the game, I talked to Brian, and he said, "Oh, at the end of the day, your guys were a little more disciplined than mine," and that really was the difference, right? And it was a monumental shift in philosophy from the first half to the second half of how we substituted. It wasn't like a little change. It was like throw that in the trash, and let's try this other thing that we've never tried before as well, right? And luckily, I had a plan B coming in, and likely until I can think of another way, this will probably stay for a couple of games until we get burned on it.
Yeah, that's I think the best part, like you said, though, is for guys that get lacrosse. There's that whole level of watching the coaching strategy because you understand too that like watching the NLL, the 5-5 that completely, yeah, the odd man situations and stuff in the All Americans there, you really saw take advantage of that, and they had a lot of odd man rushes, and it
Yeah,
put their goalie in a tough spot where
yeah,
the Syracuse goalie in a tough spot, whereas most of Syracuse's they had some on the transition, but a lot of theirs was like a different style setup play, like a more offensive style, and you got to wonder too because like yes, it didn't work in that game, but it's only their first week. These guys have only been together a couple weekends, so is it like, do you stick with the style? I would not want to be in your guys' shoes right now. I can tell you that.
yeah. No, like I said, I threw out one style and adopted something I've never seen before. And that was the thing is I'm not afraid to rewrite the book. You know, I've never been one to kind of get try to get stuck in a rut, right? I've out even as a player, I've always tried to find the spaces where I could flow against the flow, flow with the flow, flow against the flow, and find the open spaces in the flow against, right? And trying to teach that to players is so instinctual, right? So that's really hard to teach. But as a coach and creating strategy and you create plans, you have to be flexible enough to change a plan. And like I said, luckily enough, I had a second plan already in the back pocket. So as soon as we did that, I just, grabbed a bunch of guys and put them in circles and told them what I wanted and went to the next group and did and and it really came together. It really came together. And then, once again, at the end of the game, made a couple in-game shifts, right, to put particular people on the floor in particular spaces and at particular times. Uh, and even on the bench personnel, how we ran the bench changed from the first period or the first half to the third period to the fourth period. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say exactly what happened because who knows who's watching, but certainly if you're watching the game and you're watching game tape, you're gonna be like, "What? There's no plan here." Um, and it was planned chaos, which was fun, and we came out on top. So that's I'm thankful for that. But it was good to win for the home crowd, and I'm happy for that. I think we shocked a younger team, um, with the fact that we were able to keep up with them.
I
I think I
yeah,
think they thought they were going to just outrun us, and all these old dudes are all done. They got no juice left. There's nothing left in their legs anymore. And I think we surprised them with that we were able to run with them.
yeah, and that's the thing is like a lot of these they were really going for athletic players pushing the transition, but at the end of the day, you got to have the guys with the stick skill that can score the goals, or else it doesn't matter how fast you run. If you're going to go down there and shoot it in the goalie's chest every time, that goalie can have 100 saves if you're shooting at his chest. It makes it a lot easier for him.
Yeah. Oh, don't get me wrong. We hit the goalie in the chest plenty of times. Oh, don't get me started on that. Oh, we could probably keep a stat roll of how many times we hit him in the chest, but it'd probably be very embarrassing too. But we did enough. You know what I mean? We did enough, and seems like the magic number is 15 so far.
Yeah,
15, 12, 15, 14, 15, 14,
15-16 was the other one.
15,
Yeah,
16. Yeah.
and that one was
So
in overtime. And that's a
yeah,
NABLL guy that scored the game winner in overtime. That
who is
was
that?
as well. That was Kyle Baker, the guy that runs the box
Oh,
main team.
oh yeah.
I just saw that posted on Instagram right as I was walking in here. My phone went off and I had commented on it. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I'd love to see that the NABLL guys are really, but you're starting to see, like, he's been running that box main. They've had the Vermont Voyagers. You need a good mix of, like you said, you've got some guys like Voigt who maybe haven't played as much box, but you kind of got to mix in the seasoned talent. And I had a chance to talk to McCoy Abrams this morning, and that's what he said. Is he said the cardio in this was impressive, and he thinks, like he said, you want to get in at the end. He thinks they're heading in the right direction, obviously, but yeah, he was just so jazzed up to be the first game pro. How was that? How did you try to calm like? I know the first game that was on TV, on lacrosse TV, the first 5 minutes, you could tell a lot of those guys, this was their first chance playing pro. And even the guys that didn't, it was still like so much. And that first couple minutes was really
Oh yeah,
full
yeah,
of anxiety.
yeah. Oh, it was. I We kept trying to talk to the guys and calm them down um, when they came off. I think it was just a lot of conversation about getting into a rhythm. Um, we had a guy miss an open net, you know, like literally picked up the ball. The goalie's looking the wrong way. No one's playing defense on him. Everyone's looking the wrong way somehow, and he just misses the net. Right? That's nerves. Right? Another guy gets a backside pass, no look, goes through three sticks, hits him in the stick, drops the pass. Right? So certainly, we could certainly go through the film and look at all the times, beginning, middle, and end of the game, right, where nerves reared their head, right, um, and I think it's just what happens, right. My first game, my first big game, when I really kind of felt like I was playing with Syracuse, and we played against Buffalo, and I set a great pick for Paul Gate, popped him open so well that everybody ran to jump on Paul Gate, and I rolled into the crease. And I did it once, and Paul Gate shot through the screen, right? And the coach says, Paul, Neal set a great pick. He was wide open on the crease. Nobody even covered him. So he says, oh, really? So happens again, literally the next play. I come in, set another great pick, pop him open. Everybody charges and runs after Paul. And this time he throws me the ball. So now here I am, one-on-one with uh, Bill Cowie, all pro. There's me trying to, or it might have even been Marty O'Neill. Maybe, no, you know what? It was Marty O'Neill. He got traded to Buffalo that year. So there I am on Marty O'Neill, throwing as many fixes as I can. I got him dancing. I got him up in the air. So then I try to dump one between his legs, and he closes his legs up, makes a great save, stuffs me on the crease. I was like, oh. And then as I shot, I fell forward, right? So then everyone's looking at me, laying in the crease, and they're like, who hit Neal? How did he fall over? And I'm like, no, I just lost my mind and fell over. Like it was just ridiculous. Um, Ended up having 30 some points that year, right? But the first game was terrible. Yeah, terrible. Luckily, I got a second shot. I did get a few points that first game, a few assists. So I got a second shot, and I made up for it. By the end of the year, I was in a couple of games. I had 4 or 5 goals, in different games. So, I certainly made up for it by the end of the year. But yeah, I struggled that first game, nerves, anxiousness, all those things. So I know what that feels like. Um, but we got to work through it. So it's fun.
And you did. You guys managed to work through it and get the win. I won't take up too much of your time, so thank you very much. And
Mhm.
yeah, every week after the games, if it works for you, we'll do a quick
Sure.
little 10 minute. Good luck this weekend at practice. And what do you? So your next game is against the
The Spark.
Ooh, yes, in
Yeah.
Binghamton.
In Binghamton. Yeah. Spark at home.
Aha! So lucky for the Binghamton fans, they're going to get a good show. If anybody didn't get a chance to watch that Spark game, any of the Binghamton fans, if they're looking at this, go watch that Spark game. You'll see some talent in there, and they too had, as we talked about, the penalty shots, and I think they probably aren't real happy with the way that game started. So probably coming in with a little chip on their shoulder.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. And we had a fun heated scrimmage with them earlier in the year. So, and I think the guys are. It'll be a good game. It'll be a good game. I think the rivalry is already there between Elmira and Syracuse and Binghamton, and it's kind of just one of those things where everyone's just kind of geographically so close. The teams are skill wise pretty close. Um, Coaching styles and coaching dynamics, we all know each other. Brian and Ron and myself were all former teammates at one point, with the Onondaga Redhawks. And so we all know each other really well, which makes for some fun excitement. So, I mean, there's a rivalry there between three of us built in before we even blew the first whistle for the first game. We already had each other's, you know, marked on the calendar when we played each other, and we still do. And I know we have, there's a big target on us the next time Elmira gets to play us in Elmira at the end of the year. And, and then we play Syracuse at the end of the year too. So we get them at the beginning and we get them at the end. And I'm sure those last two games near the end will probably be pretty important for the playoffs.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. The parity in this league, like I said, everybody so close, and it's so early in the season too. So to see it that close with the coaching changes going back and forth, super
Yeah.
excited. And I hope they end up coming up with a deal where they can find a way to stream the rest of your guys' games, because I tell you, it's gonna be, yeah, it's so impressive. You can't watch that and not think that was great lacrosse.
Oh yeah. No, it was wonderful across. It was high quality, and credit due to all the coaches, on every team to really go through, what is basically a 1,600 player document of interest, right? And we had to scour that document of 1,600 players to pick our teams of 25, and I mean, I am sure there's plenty of players that are in that portal that probably shouldn't have been left out, right? And probably could or should be in the league, right? I'm sure they're somewhere. I just don't know who they are, right? And somehow they got to get an opportunity, right? So, and that's what this league is about. It's creating that opportunity, and so we're looking on where can we do that, and we actually don't even have any Canadians on our team. Other teams have. We're allowed four. We don't have any.
Yeah, and that I noticed that when I was getting as I had all the guys walking by, and yeah, that was yeah, it's an impressive team. Like you said, you go with the guys you know. Huge shout out to the PBLA for putting together this
Yeah.
talent pool, because it's been amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, not that I don't like Canadians, and not even that I don't know any good Canadians. I drafted a bunch in the expansion or the supplemental draft, and just it didn't work out where they came out and were able to play, and the ones that were just didn't fit with the structure and the process of what we're looking to achieve. So it just worked out that way. It was not intentional, but that's the irony, right?
it's
So
a
if you really look at it that way, I got four spots. If I really want to get better legally, I can get four spots and just bloop, right? And that would really be interesting.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm sure you'll start having some people sending highlight reels to you here pretty soon now.
oh
That
yeah, plenty already.
oh, that's awesome. Thanks again so much, Neil, and I'll hopefully I'll see you guys at some point between now and then. But if not, I'll talk to you after the next game.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks
Thanks.
a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, bye.